but I do think Dustin's going to incorporate grappling more, especially if the leg kicks are a success early on by Justin Gaethje. I think he'll negate that with takedowns, something from kicking. And I would, gun to the head, I would say I could see Poirier winning via submission.
And now, Brandon Thick Boy Schaub.
What is up, fam? Monday, July 24th. What is poppin'? How's everybody's weekend? Great, grand, wonderful. Lot of fight news, lot of fights over this past weekend. You got the big UFC 291 going down this freaking Saturday, and it is a El Grande pay-per-view. Prelims is whatever. They're not great, but that main card is spicy, daddy. Kicking off with Derek Lewis, Lima, you got Wonder Boy, Michael Pereira, Michael Chiesa, Kevin Holland, Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green. That's an interesting one. We get into that. Jan, Alex Pereira, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. Should have been Fight of the Year. They gave it to somebody else. Fought in 2018, the rematch. The BMF title's on the line. I guess that's a real thing now because we have to say it. I can't wait for this pay-per-view. It's a great card. Absolutely stacked card. Take my money. We're doing Calabas Fight Companion this Saturday, 7 p.m. Pacific. With the boys, I got a great crew. We'll announce that soon, but I'm excited for this one. And we also, I'm talking to Luke Thomas later this week as well. So that will air on Thursday. And we'll have Lukey Thomas, the great Luke Thomas, I think the best in the business from top to bottom. The big man himself, Luke Thomas, will be joining me to break down UFC 291. And don't forget, kids, you got Errol Spence and Terrance Crawford fighting as well. One for the record books, 2 undefeateds going at it. World title fight, undisputed welterweight championship is going down on PBC Boxing. Is that on? It's on Showtime. Hell yeah, shout out to Showtime for getting that done. So that's going down as well this Saturday. Busy Saturday. It's interesting because you got you got UFC 291, big deal. You got Spence Crawford, which should have been happening for years now. It's such a big fight in boxing. I know you guys aren't the biggest boxing heads, so it's such a mega fight. And then next weekend, I'll be joining Joe Rogan, Eddie Bravo, and Brian Callen for a fight companion on JRE for our boy Corey Sandhagen versus Rob Font. That's a fight night. But that same night, my point was you have big UFC and boxing, and then next week you have decent-sized UFC Fight Night, and you have Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. So we got back-to-back weekends. If you're a fight fan, you're happy. You are happy. Happy as a pig in shit, as they say. That's the whole thing. But yeah, it's going down, man. You guys more excited for Jake Paul, Nate Diaz, or Terrance Crawford, Errol Spence? If you had to pick.
Jake Paul, Nate Diaz.
Yeah, I knew you were going to be like, you guys are pieces of shit.
I know.
God, you know how good of a fight Errol Spence
I know,
and Crawford is? It's insane,
like one of the best.
dude. No, none of them have lost. 39-0 versus what's Spence? Spence has to be at least 30-0. 39-0 versus, at the hot. No, he's 28-0, dude.
Oh, sorry, 28-0.
Yeah. 28-0 versus 39-0, the highest level of boxing. Give me Nate Diaz, Jake Paul. Which one does more pay-per-views?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, like if you even have your toe dipped into boxing, you're like, this is the fight.
Yeah.
Man. This is a big fucking deal. You guys are hilarious. This is a big deal. But it's just the world we live in now. Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz might do more pay-per-views, which is insane, dude. Jake is 6-1.
Just looking at the followers.
I think Spence Crawford, because you're talking about the entire boxing community across the world is going to tune into this.
Yeah.
Have KG put that up on the Thick Boy page. What sells more pay-per-views? Crawford. It's going to infuriate boxing fans, but what can you do, man? Yeah, Terrance Crawford, we've had him on Food Truck a long time ago. Both of these guys they're like they sleep, eat, live boxing. Like they're as good as it gets when it comes to fundamentals and pedigree in boxing. Like there's nobody better. But neither one is like a character. You know, they're not great on social media, which is stupid that is even plays a role in this, but it's just 2023, so it's what we do. But neither one's like, you know, trending on Instagram or anything like that, or neither one's like great on the mic. Like they're built. There's not a lot of build up to this, but I don't think you need it. They're that damn talented. But yeah, I'm curious how that does.
I didn't know Nate had that many followers.
Nate's very
6.4.
famous. Nate's very famous. Yes. Yeah, it's interesting. I would assume Spence and Crawford does more pay-per-views. Now, when it comes to illegal streams, because you know Nate Diaz, Jake Paul, the young audience, they like to rip it. You know, so I don't. If you had illegal streams, probably Nate beats that. But yeah, it's a weird world. We got a lot of fun fights, man. We'll get into UFC 291 pretty soon here. And then Crawford and Spence I will save to talk with the expert with Luke Thomas, which will drop later this week. You had a fight card over the weekend. It went down in London. Usually the O2 Arena is a special place. I found myself bored to tears with this card. I started with the very first one that started at 9 a.m. Pacific time on ESPN Plus. A lot of decisions. Hate to see that Shauna Bannon lose. She got kind of handled. There's a lot of hype coming into her. Ireland loves her, but it was tough to see. She looked good the last round, but she'll learn from this. That was a bummer to see. Paul Craig got the win done. That was probably the loudest applause of the night besides Tom Aspinall. And then, you know, your girl Molly Meatball McCain got dealt with, Jen.
Oh, my girl.
She got dealt with.
Yeah. She was tapping for a while, too.
I know that ref was like, wait, what's happening? She almost got her arm fucking ripped off. Yeah, it's just a tough gig for her. I mean, I see why the UFC does and I see why they don't. Like, she's such a star, especially that women's flyweight division. You need stars, especially out there in Europe. She's a massive star. But they just give her this horrible matchup. Her jiu-jitsu is terrible, huh? Really bad. As soon as it hit the ground, it was game over. Game over. Sucks to see her lose. But in the talk of the town is the main event, Tom Aspinall. If you gave me $100,000 and I could bet on one fighter that I can guarantee is going to be a world champion, it'd be Tom Aspinall. I think if you look at the lay of the land, what Tom did to Tybura, I mean, he was a big favorite for a reason, but after that layoff, that bad injury with the knee, he's going through some issues, it sounds like, in his personal life with his camp and outside of the gym. I knew he'd beat him, but not like this. I mean, it wasn't even competitive. And just what he's been doing lately, man, the guy is such a fucking savage. He's more athletic than anybody we've seen. He puts it together better than everybody else in the heavyweight division. The rumor is John retires in Madison Square Garden after he beat Stipe. He wants to retire in his home state of New York. So what a great way to do it in Madison Square Garden after he beat Stipe, which I think he mops the floor with Stipe. So let's take John and Stipe out of it, which I think him's a tough fight. I could see him get it done. It's a tough fight. Let's take John out of it. He beat Stipe. So let's take those two out of it. Let's say they retired. So then you're stuck with, not stuck, but you're left with, you got Cyril Gane, who I think he absolutely destroys in every facet. I think his speed, his timing, his athleticism, his overall MMA IQ, his ability to not only stand with Cyril Gane. He's not going to outstrike him, but I do think he does some things better on the feet than Cyril Gane. Not his kicks, obviously. But I think his speed would be a problem for Cyril Gane. His pressure would be a problem. But the biggest issue for Cyril Gane is his ability to adapt from striking to wrestling to grappling. Once it hits the ground, Cyril Gane's a white belt that we saw with John Jones. He got choked out by a front fucking guillotine, for God's sakes, against the cage. So I think you'd have a huge advantage over Cyril Gane. He called out the winner of Cyril Gane versus, is it Cyril Gane Spivak?
Oh, no, Pavlovich.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure, right?
No, that's not the fight. Because it's in Paris.
Oh, you're right, Spivak.
Yeah. He's already beat Spivak. Spivak's probably not going to win that one. So let's say Cyril Gane wins that fight. So and it would be for interim, I would assume it's for the interim heavyweight championship. Wait, that fight, it's in September. Yeah, so if that's soon. So that fight's in September. So winner of that fights Tom Aspinall. probably December, and then Tom's next fight's for the interim. Well, it'll just be for the vacant heavyweight title if John retires. And probably be against Sergey Pavlovich. I think he beats Pavlovich. I think if he can just avoid him that first round, he drags Pavlovich into second, third, fourth round, he beats him. But you look at the matchups, take John Jones out of it, I don't see anybody beating Tom Aspinall. He's too damn good. Big boy too, 6'5". The kid's a problem. Black belt on the ground, great hands, confidence, swagger's there. You give me $100,000 to bet on one UFC fighter to become champion the next year. It's our boy Tom Aspinall.
His speed is insane, especially for heavyweight.
Yeah. He gives you just look at the lay of the land. I don't know. I mean, I'd say his toughest matchup is Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades now, though, coming off a loss. I think, it sucks to say this, and I wonder what Tom would say, but it's almost a blessing that, I'd like to see how Tom does against a really good wrestler like Curtis Blades, but that's his toughest matchup stylistically. We didn't get to see it. Blew his knee out before the fight even started. And then Curtis Blades, he lost to Sergey. I think they're going to, for the benefit of Tom, we're not going to get that fighting time soon. I'm a little worried about Curtis Blades' confidence after that Sergey fight. So he'll be able to leapfrog him. I bet he leapfrogs him now. And then you got Stipe, you got John up there. He'll fight Cyril Gane. Then for the vacant heavyweight title, I guarantee you get Sergey Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall. I'll take Tom Aspinall all day in that fight. So shout out to Tom Aspinall. Get it done, man. Let's take a little break. We're talking UFC 291. It's going to be a big one. You got Crawford Spence going down as well. Few housekeeping notes. I'm at the Ice House this Friday. One show only. That thing will sell out. Schaub and Friends. We got Jay Moore and a bunch of other big names coming up this Friday at the Ice House at 8 p.m. Then August 11th, 2 shows, one night. August 11th in Phoenix, Arizona. Catch me at JT Wings when I'm not on stage. My favorite wings in the world. This episode of the Schaub Show is brought to you by the best product to get your mind right, get your body right. We're talking about Kratom, but you can't trust any Kratom. Some of it's a little shady out there, but not my friends at Happy Hippo. I reached out to them to work with me on all my shows because I love their product. I love their energy shots, their Kratom shots, their gummies. They got powders. They got it all. They even have K-dips. So I have K-dips in right now. It's the Kratom dips, like almost, if you have tobacco pouches or you have nicotine pouches, this is just Kratom pouches. They have wintergreen, they have razzle dazzle. I love them. You can get 20% off the pouches, the shots, the energy shots, the Kratom shots, the powders, the gummies, everything. All right. Everything at happyhippo.com. Promo code is THICC23, thick with 3 C's, 23. You save 20% off for life off all products as many times as you want. You can share it with your friend, your aunt, your buddies, your cousin, your Uber driver, your Postmates driver, whoever it is. Share it with them. That's THICC23 for 20% off the best Kratom on the land. Get you some. That's happyhippo.com. Promo code is THICC23. You're welcome. This episode of the Schaub Show is brought to you by On It. They're here to talk to you about nootropics. If you don't know what Alpha Brain is, you're living under a rock. They've sold over 1 million bottles. But listen, the Alpha Brain's great. They give you your money back if you don't love it. You don't have to return the product. You can keep it, share it with a friend. You're messing up there. It's great. Helps in cognitive functions, including memory, mental speed, and focus. But I recommend the Alpha Brain Black. That is their black label. It's the highly concentrated Alpha Brain, basically Alpha Brain with a turbo boost for your brain. All right. They have Alpha Brain Black. They have regular Alpha Brain. They have the Alpha Brain Instant. They have Alpha Brain Shot. They got it all. They have workout gear as well. Kettlebells, steel club maces, sandbags, yoga mats, protein powders, Warrior bars. You guys know On It, for God's sakes, by now. They've been with me about 9 years. Go to onit.com/Schaub. You get 10% off all Alpha Brain products, including the black label that I recommend. All workout gear, fitness gear, streaming fitness, onit.com/Schaub, 10% off. Now let's get back to UFC 291. But the talk of the town is UFC 291 this freaking weekend. It's in Salt Lake City. Something to think about, Salt Lake City, the elevation is an issue, especially for the heavier weights. Derek Lewis is fucked. I don't know why they did that to my mans. Derek Lewis at elevation is not cool. It even sucks for DeLima. That's not great at that elevation. That's going to play a factor. Could play a factor in Jan and Alex Pereira as well. Something to think about with those heavier weight classes. Not so much of a issue for Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje trains at Elevation. Dustin Poirier's been out in Salt Lake for, I think, since last week. So as long as you get there about 2 weeks before, he should be okay. For the rest of the card, it's whatever. But Derek Lewis is, I mean, he's just like, all right, I got one freaking round. That's it. I'm going for broke. And if you're Derek, maybe that's why the UFC did it. They went, dude, whenever you're too hesitant, so in order to get your ass going, we know damn well you can't fight in the second and third round. So you got 1 round to get this done. Derek Lewis, if he knows he only has to go 1 round, is a mother trucker. He's a savage. As long as he's going forward. Anytime you see Derek Lewis going backwards, he's losing he's definitely lost that fight. He has to go forward and be the bully. You should be able to do it against DeLima. Listen, you got to realize DeLima was a 205er for God's sakes. I think he even weighed in at 210 one time. Like he's not the biggest guy. Derek Lewis is a savage. Derek Lewis isn't really on Instagram anymore.
Yeah, I haven't seen any posts. Well, I don't follow him, but I would still pop up.
Think out, he was going viral nonstop.
Yeah.
Rogan would shout him out, post him, say he's the best guy to follow on social media. But go to his Instagram, Chin. Can we confirm that? I don't think I don't think he does it anymore. I think once he kind of hit the.
It's just Black Beast, right?
His account's Black Beast. Yeah, I think he stopped posting so much.
I don't even see it now. Let me actually Google it then.
Yeah, I don't think he erased it, but I just don't think he does it anymore. Maybe it's too much pressure. He's like, all right, this is ridiculous.
I don't see it.
No, he had like, I don't know, 2 million followers. It keeps getting banned.
I guess so.
Click on that. Why?
The video?
Yeah, we won't play it for the fans. I'll just give them the cliff notes. So he just banned because was he posting like fight videos of people getting like messed up?
I would see like kids falling down or people getting hurt, but he's like, they're okay. They're fine.
I mean, how would he know that? But it doesn't matter. It's so stupid. That means just people kept reporting his account.
It's so lame.
And then they look in. Yeah, people suck, man. They like to see people fall.
It's enjoyable to watch that stuff, and they just took it
So
away.
I thought maybe he felt the pressure from keeping up with it or something. No, he just banned. No. Just shadow ban. Welcome to the team, my man. This first team all shadow ban. Now, you ain't Eddie Bravo banned. That's a different thing.
Sam Tripoli banned.
Sam Tripoli's like banned like the rest of us, but Eddie Bravo, there's a ban, there's shadow ban, then there's Eddie Bravo ban. Eddie, like you type in his name, like it just no, he went too deep, man. He went too deep for him. So yeah, we watched a little video here. So Derek Lewis, it's not that he, because of pressure or he just didn't feel like entertaining guys anymore on Instagram. Instagram banned his account because people kept reporting it for certain things. Like I posted on my story, on my wall, I was talking how I have those bearded dragons. Mm-hmm. And I thought I caught a lizard in the backyard and thought they could, be friends and put in the tank. And they ripped his head off and ate him alive. And so then I caught a bigger one. I'm like, all right, he's too big. This guy's too big. He's going to be friends with him. I'm like, because my son really wants another lizard and I don't want to buy one because they're annoying. And so we got this bigger lizard, put him back there. Did I send it to the group chat?
I didn't see it.
I thought I sent it to the group chat, but then I posted on my Instagram story, and then because a lizard eating another lizard, and I posted, and I was like, I'm telling you, these bearded lizards, don't let them fool with your cuteness, man. These things are savages, and this thing tears this lizard up. I'll show you guys when we get off air. I posted my Instagram story, and I was like, that might get me more banned. That might get me taken down. Even though it's nature.
It's nature.
Yeah, but you never know if you get those idiots who can report and animal abuse and shit like that. So I just took it down.
Oh, okay. I thought something happened.
No, I was just like, it's not worth it. I mean, he could ruin your Saturday. It was like a Saturday morning too. It would ruin your Saturday if you're a big lizard fan. But it's just nature, baby.
Nature's Metal had so many deaths, so many crazy deaths on that.
Yes, I wonder how they get by it.
It must be something to do with education and nature.
I don't know. Well, I could be like, hey, here's education. I don't think so.
No, I mean, because your page isn't.
I also think Instagram, Instagram dictates who they like, who they don't. That's how it goes.
I know. I hear you.
But point is, Derek Lewis just got banned. He just didn't walk away from it, so that's a shame. I do think he wins that fight, though, especially the pressure's on him. He can't rely again to the second or third round playing possum and then knock the guy out. Mm-hmm. I think he gets it done. He needs a win, man. He's fallen some tough times. He lost, 4 out of his last 5. It's been tough for him, man. Really tough. Then you got a great fight in Wonderboy Thompson, Michelle Piera. That's a fantastic fight. I will take Wonderboy in that. I assume Derek and Wonderboy are the favorites in this. Michael Chiesa and Kevin Holland's a great fight.
Derek is not the favorite.
Derek is not the favorite. Wow.
Plus 150.
That'd be my dog pick of the weekend. Because he knows he has to get done the first round at that elevation.
Steven is favorite, though. Minus 170.
Steven's minus 170 favorite. Some good dog bets on this. Yeah, because listen, I like Wonderboy, but anything could happen in that fight. Those boys are crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
But I'll take Wonderboy. I'll take Derek Lewis, Michael Chiesa, Kevin Holland. I assume Kevin Holland's the favorite in that, Chin?
Let's check.
Minus 145. Yep, it's right there.
Okay.
Minus 145. That's a good fight. Yeah, all the fights are like, there's not one bad fight on that main card.
No, the main card's stacked.
Yeah, it's stacked. There's no way Derek Lewis and DeLima doesn't end in a finish. Wonderboy Thompson, Piera. Sometimes it's a little dicey if Wonderboy can get away with stay on the outside. His fights can be a little boring if the guy didn't come forward, but Piera's a savage.
Dude, he always comes forward.
Yeah, he'll come forward, so somebody's getting finished in that. Just say Kevin Holland. That's a good fight. God, I was so high on Michael Chiesa. I was so high on him. I thought he was going to be welterweight champion. He's fallen a little bit of tough times. Let me see his record, Jen. Mm-hmm. He lost his last two. Vicente Luque. God, I guaranteed Luque wouldn't submit him there, and he did in a Darce choke, and they lost to Sean Brady. He needs a win too, man. Yeah, he was mowing through those welterweights, and he ran into Vicente Luque. That Khamzat one I throw out, so yeah, I mean, he's 2 out of his last 4.
And the Thompson one, he didn't want to wrestle, which is crazy. So
that was insane.
Yeah,
they beat Ponzinibbio. He needed that win. Mm-hmm. Yeah, both of kind of fork in the road for Chiesa and Kevin Holland there. I'll take Kevin Holland though. Ferguson, Bobby Green. I mean, I don't know.
I'm
I can't believe Ferguson's still doing the damn thing. Ferguson's probably a big dog, dude. Who's gonna put money on Ferguson? Plus 285.
Bobby's minus 375. Damn.
That's offensive. I mean, Bobby got starched his last fight. They're just assuming Tony Ferguson's totally checked out.
Yeah.
I assume his last one. What's a bigger fall from grace, Tony Ferguson or BJ Penn?
Right now, BJ Penn still, I think.
BJ Penn, I think, because Tony was never like a legit champ. He was an interim champ. Mm-hmm. BJ Penn, I mean, Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
What they did to him was just rude.
Amazing legend, but yeah, that was a pretty.
He's a legend. I only remember him as that. I don't think him running for governor, trying to get NASCAR to Hawaii. None of that stuff. Just the legend. He's the coolest dude. Mm-hmm. Runs Hawaii. His whole family does. Jan Blachowicz, Alex Pereira. That's actually my favorite fight on the card. Even more so than Poirier. I'm intrigued by this fight. It could get, man, look at those odds. I got to be honest, I'm surprised. So the odds are minus 105, minus 125, basically a pick 'em. Mm-hmm. I'm a little surprised just with Jan's experience in MMA compared to Alex Pereira. You know, Alex had the perfect route to get to a world title. Then he gets to Izzy, gets the job done there, and then gets, starched in his last outing. But he hasn't really fought a ton of big, heavy grapplers like Jan. I'm not saying Jan's, Khabib here, but compared to Alex, he's Khabib here. Mm-hmm. The Magomed fight and Jan with, toss up, not the best fight we've ever seen. I think he has to be at least 40. Is he 38 or 40?
40.
He's 40.
Mm-hmm.
Light heavyweight, not the end of the world, but not ideal. If I'm the UFC, when you look at the light heavyweight rankings, Alex, I think, has a lot of shine on him coming off the Izzy fights. Even though he lost his last one, people still love Alex. He can be your face of the light heavyweight division, but there's 2 fights. Magomed, if they really want to screw him, they give him Magomed. That's just rude. And then Jan's kind of a hybrid version, has better striking than Magomed, but isn't as good as a grappler, but he's no punk down there. So I get why the UFC is doing it. Like, all right, man, if you're gonna be champion, you got to beat all comers. I get that, but let's just get him to the title first. It's just that all the guys, take out Magomed, out of all the matchups, this is the least exciting. Jan's just, he hits like a Mack truck. His grappling's not bad compared to fucking Alex. He's leap years ahead of him. But when you think about Alex Pereira, Gary's a great fight. Rakit's a great fight. Krylov's a great fight. Johnny Walker's a phenomenal one. Anthony Smith is a fun one. Ozermer's a good one. Like, they're good fights, man. They're really, really good fights. And we'll still see some of those, but I just feel like it would do a lot more for the UFC if Pereira was champion, which I think he can be. He just has to get by this huge test in Jan. Who you taking that fight?
I mean, my brain tells me Jan.
Me too.
Because he handled Israel pretty much.
My head says Jan. My heart wants Alex.
It'd be exciting.
This division would be so fun if Alex was your champion. And it makes sense. DC alluded to this and broke it down why this isn't for the light heavyweight interim championship. Because remember, Yuri was champion. He got hurt. Then Jamal Hill stepped in. He became champion. So he's technically the champion, but he's not. We know Yuri didn't lose the belt. So then Mick Maynard, DC called him, was like, why isn't this for the championship fight? He's like, because Yuri's the champ. This just makes it complicated. Like, because Yuri's the champ. So when he comes back, he's going to fight for the title, for his belt. Jamal Hill never lost his belt. He's hurt. So it makes it all kind of dicey. So it makes more sense. I get it. I can't wait for that fucking fight. Then Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, the BMF title. Could care less if it's for a title or not. They fought in 2018. People must have forgot. I mean, Justin Gaethje has changed, quote unquote, changed his fighting style. He's still entertaining as shit. But after he lost to Dustin Poirier, he changed his fighting style to be a little more controlled. So he lost to Eddie Alvarez, which was a wild fight. And then he lost to Dustin Poirier in the 4th round. But what was weird about that fight is it wasn't going Poirier's way going into that 4th round in any facet. The leg kicks were a huge issue for Dustin Poirier. So I think Trevor Whitman, they're going to focus on those leg kicks. You do got to be careful there because what did finish Justin Gaethje in that 4th round was the counter to the leg kick. So unless those leg kicks are just doing significant damage where Dustin Poirier can't walk, he can't answer the bell, or get off his stool, then it's worth it. But you got to be careful investing in so many leg kicks because that's all Dustin Poirier trains on. That's how he lost last time. But I do think it should be noted, the majority of the fans and Poirier is favored here. Dustin Poirier, it was not going his way in that first fight, even though he ended up winning it. So something of note there. But since then, apparently he's changed his fighting style. He beat James Vick, which was a crazy KO. Edson Barboza, Cerrone, Tony Ferguson. Lost Khabib, beat Chandler. That's his best win, is Chandler, in a hot second. Because, let's be honest, James Vick, not a world beater, no disrespect. Edson Barboza, older at the time, gets starched. Cerrone, old as shit at the time, beats him. Tony Ferguson, we see where Tony's at, right? Then he gets to Khabib. He gets manhandled by Khabib. Gets to Chandler, like I said, his best win. That was a really good fight of the year. And then he gets another shot at the championship, and he gets dealt with pretty heavily by Charles Oliveira. Still a fan favorite, but it's whenever he fights the upper echelon guys, he loses. Eddie Alvarez in 2017, upper echelon. Dustin Poirier, upper echelon, lost. Khabib, the toughest test, lost. Charles Oliveira, toughest test, lost. So he beats those guys that are right there, but he's not beating the tip of the spear guys. And he says he's changed his style since. I think his success came from a change of style and matchups. He's fighting a lot of older guys. Mm-hmm. So it could be, I think it's a combination of both. He's just better in the chaos. And then you look at Dustin Poirier since they fought. So he beat Eddie Alvarez, who, Justin lost to. He beat Max Holloway to become the interim championship. Then they both lost to Khabib, nothing to get sad about. Beat Dan Hooker, that's a good win. He beat Conor twice. Lost to Charles Oliveira. and then they both beat Michael Chandler, but Dustin Poirier handled Chandler a lot smoother, I think. I can see why people are taking Poirier. I think Poirier is a better overall fighter. His strength of schedule is better. His wins at the highest level are better. I know Justin Gaethje does well in the chaos. I know they say he's a changed fighter. I don't know if I believe that. I think it's, maybe he's not as a wild man, but he's still a wild man. He's just maybe a tad more control, but I don't think he can ever shake that. It's in his DNA, which is what makes him great, which makes him the human highlight. But I do think that doesn't make you a world champion. I think Dustin Poirier just does some things better. I do think we'll get a little more grappling in this fight. I think Poirier is going to initiate it. Poirier has a significant advantage on the ground when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Just not Justin Gaethje's cup of tea. Just does not gravitate towards jiu-jitsu, doesn't really work on it. Dustin Poirier is a legit black belt on the ground. Dustin Poirier does implement wrestling more than Justin Gaethje. Justin took down Fiziev. Fiziev got right back up. But I do think Dustin's going to incorporate grappling more, especially if the leg kicks are a success early on by Justin Gaethje. I think he'll negate that with takedowns, stop him from kicking. And I would, gun to the head, I would say I could see Poirier winning via submission. So I'll take Poirier. What do you got, Jen?
You already mentioned Tom Aspinall calling out John Jones if he were to win against Spivak.
Yeah, I don't think they ever fight.
Cyril. Yeah.
I don't think there's much left for John to do.
What do you think of Paul Craig's call out of Bo Nickel?
I love it.
Right.
I absolutely love it. I'm a huge Paul Craig fan. He looks great at middleweight. That's where he should have been fighting all along. So I thought he looked great at middleweight. It's a huge test for Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel definitely has the advantage when it comes to striking from what we've seen. Mm-hmm. But I would be curious if Bo Nickel's forced to strike because of the danger of the ground with Paul Craig, who's a phenomenal jiu-jitsu practitioner. So it'd be such a good test for Bo Nickel. Again, it's all up to the UFC. How fast do they want Bo Nickel to get to the top? This isn't a bad test. It's a big one, dude.
Definitely a big test, John.
Big one. I wonder if the UFC, that's what everybody's saying. He broke Jacare's arm. He did the same to Eric Anders. Maybe Paul's jiu-jitsu isn't good because he's just a wee guy from Scotland. Wait, who said that?
I didn't hear that. But yeah, he did look good, and he did win by strikes, which is...
Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah.
So he beat the number 14 guy, so I assume they put in the top 15. Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. What I want to do is to be a top 15 guy. I'm number 9 at light heavyweight. He did fuck up Jamal Hill. People forget. As a middle, I kind of like Bo Nickel fight. Nobody wants to fight him, but then if he takes it down, he better be good at passing guard because I'm very good at retaining guard. Yeah, one of the best. Mm-hmm. He's a name. He's a name, and he can play into my game plan where he gets in tight, takes me down. It just fits me better. Yeah, I love the fight. Again, I wonder if the UFC's like, too much too soon. Paul Craig's a motherfucker.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Maybe
if I'm
just
the
a
UFC,
little
it's
bit
like,
too soon.
do we risk the hype of Bo Nickel versus a guy like Paul Craig?
Nah.
Paul Craig's a good guy to bet on, though. You know?
Yeah.
Because if you want him to steal Bo Nickel's shine, I would invest in Paul Craig. Paul Craig's a character, man.
Yeah.
Great fighter, too. Yeah, I like it. I'd like to, it'd be even if they don't do it next in the next 3 fights. Like maybe one test right outside top 15 and then do Paul Craig. But I like the test for Bo Nickel. What do you got, Jen?
So there's a bunch of bout announcements after our last show.
Yeah, UFC went nutsos, huh?
Mm-hmm. So Makhachev, Oliveira 2. That's going to be for UFC 294. It's just not low.
Are you more excited for Makhachev, Charles Oliveira on that card too? Or are you more excited for Khamzat, Paulo Costa? Which one would you pay for first?
It's just because I love seeing Khamzat fight.
But
yeah, so that's why. But I mean,
don't say it with your chest, Jen. Don't make excuses.
And
Khamzat Paulo Costa, I would pay for over Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
And Makhachev. Yeah, because we saw it. It wasn't that. It's not like Charles Oliveira's been on this since he lost to Makhachev. It's been years, and he's gotten so much better. It's like it kind of just happened. We know how that fight goes. I'm not that excited for it. I know everyone's high on Charles Oliveira after that fight, and he looked phenomenal. But it's just like I don't see him beating Makhachev, so I'm not that excited for it. Khamzat, Paulo Costa, take my goddamn money, daddy.
Khamzat against anyone, honestly. It's just, he's so fun to watch.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
And I was talking with a guy who knows UFC better than most, and I go, I can't wait for Khamzat Paulo Costa. He goes, dude, I think Costa starches him. I'm like,
What?
what? And he goes, dude, think about Paulo Costa fought, what's his fucking name? Oh, the Cuban wrestler.
Oh, Yoel.
Yoel, and he goes, he went toe to toe with Yoel Romero, like when it was prime Yoel Romero. I'm like, yeah. But he also had that shit fight with Luke Rockhold in his last outing. Did you forget? He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, that's the Paulo Costa now. Yeah, I think Khamzat mops the floor with him. I don't think he's competitive, but I ride Khamzat's beard hairs so fucking hard, dude. I don't know what it is. I just don't see the guy. And then everyone will go back and like, yeah, well, if he fights the same way he fought against Gilbert Burns, I'm like, here's the thing, worst fight of his life in the office. He decided just to stand toe-to-toe with Gilbert Burns, exchange shots, fought like a dumbass. Early in his career, in the UFC, still won though. Like that's what you're gonna harp on? The guy learned from it. Look what he does, like Kevin Holland. Like, oh my God.
Gilbert's like the top of the top too, so it's like obviously.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not like Gilbert's some punk.
No.
Like, dude, what? Gilbert's a savage. He went toe to toe and just stood in the pocket and still beat him, dude. So I don't know what Paulo Costa is gonna do. Could be wrong. It's MMA. Could be wrong. I'm just so high on Khamzat.
It's gonna be fun to watch this one. And you already mentioned that you're doing a fight companion for this, but Rob Font stepped in, and he's fighting Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah, I'm a huge Rob Font fan. All those boys that they're doing cartel out there, the Winter Hill gang, as I like to call them. They don't like that though. But I love Rob Font. I love Calvin Kattar. All the boys out there, love those guys. But there's just I've known Corey since he was 16. We've been over this. I love Corey. Corey's a good buddy. I was so excited for him to fight Umar Nurmagomedov because Umar's like this boogeyman division. No one wants to fight him, and there's something about Corey when he was on Food Truck. He's like, I want to fight everybody. I don't care what they're ranked because when I become champion, I want to say that I earned it and I fought all comers. So it's like it's very samurai, very in his train of thought where he's like, yeah, I'll fight Umar because no one wants to fight him, and I think he's top 5 guy. If I don't fight him now, I'm gonna have to fight him later. Might as well see if I can pass the test now. Otherwise, I don't deserve to be champion. Yeah. So there's something cool about that. There's this mystery with Umar there. I'm just worried for Corey when they go, okay, here's Rob Font at 2 weeks' notice. He's not as hyped for it. I wouldn't say he's as good as a boxer as Rob Font, but he does everything else better. And there's a lot of hype on Umar. And I think for Corey, what do they do? He's going to be a big favorite. If he does beat Rob, is that enough to give him the title shot? What do they do there? So I just worry about the letdown of you're supposed to be fighting this undefeated prospect and there's all this momentum and you beat him. It shows, you're true to your word. And then he gets hurt and they're like, here's Rob Font, who's a savvy vet coming off that Adrian Yanez win, which was, amazing. But I'm just worried about the come down for Corey there. That's the only kind of pitfall I can see. Other than that, he should win the fight. He's especially on the ground. Mm-hmm. But I'm worried about it.
I don't think we talked about this. This probably happened after the show last week, but Dricus du Plessis won't be fighting, or apparently won't be fighting Israel Adesanya. So Israel's calling out Sean Strickland.
Yeah, what else would you do?
Yeah.
How crazy is it? You could have, listen, I don't think either guy wins, but you could have Sean Strickland and Colby Covington as your champions going in 2024. And you could also have Trump as your president. Insane, dude.
A wild time.
Yeah, wild days, man. Yeah. I definitely think du Plessis is definitely more dangerous for Izzy just because his style he can't really train for. But don't sleep on Sean Strickland either, man. He does something right, But obviously, stylistically, he's going to be a pretty sizable underdog for a reason. There's just not much for it. That's why the UFC pushed the du Plessis fight and all that. Like, there's just not much for him out there. But Strickland and Izzy have a history. Like when they're at the press conference together, they talk so much shit. The build-up is going to be great.
Yeah. But yeah, the Dricus fight would have been awesome.
Are you not excited about Strickland?
I think once it gets closer and then the build-up
I like it.
because Strickland's going to say a lot of shit. Like he has a lot of inside stuff that he's talking about, which is really fucked up.
Yeah, Strickland goes hard in the paint. That's what makes it fun. And Strickland's no punk, man. And he probably learned from the Alex Pierre fight, like, all right, dude, you got to grapple some. You're not at that level when it comes to kickboxing and striking. Like he's fucking good, but you don't want to sit in the pocket there and trade with these world-class strikers. So I would assume he learned from that.
All right. Jake Paul tweeted out that he was going to fight Nate Diaz in the PFL cage, and he offered him $10 million. He says the offer still stands. And then Nate replied he needs more than that. But 10 mil to do the PFL.
Gonna cost more than that, dog. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see him fight in a cage. Even the box, all right, man. You're pushing with the box, I'll tune it.
Yeah.
In a cage, it's like, no. Like, you don't want, for Jake, he doesn't want his first MMA fight against Nate Diaz.
No.
I mean, I get and like, how much money is enough for Jake? It's like, you're good, man. You don't need to do this shit. It's because all it's going to do is defame you. He's not mean Nate Diaz in the cage. It's just not happening. It's just stupid. I love Jake. Jake's great. He's not being Nate Diaz in a fucking cage fight. It's silly.
And this headline right here, Jake did an interview and he said that him and his team would be happy with 500,000 buys, pay-per-view buys. But do you think it'll do more than that? Or it seems kind of like
I don't think it's doing more than that. No one's talking about it, are they?
Yeah, that's true.
I always gauge fights. This is a weird way to gauge fights, but I always gauge fights when I'm at Starbucks getting my coffee and the barista and the people around like, oh man, what do you think of this? Everyone asks me, what do you think of this fight? No one's asking about Jake Paul and Nate Diaz. Okay, and Nate's really not doing any of the build-up. Nate's like, man, I'm with the SAG actors. I'm taking a strike too from any promotion. And Jake's like, where was all this? You talked all this shit before we signed the fight. Now we get the fight. You're not selling it. Nate's like, we're good, man. Maybe he's just training. Maybe he's focused on training for the,
Yeah, we saw the sparring
training. Yeah,
the sparring footage against the pro.
But I 400, 500K units would be great. I think we got to change our level of expectations with these pay-per-view models. Like everyone thinks of the Conor and the Floyds and stuff like that. But again, with illegal streaming, especially with Jake Paul's fan base, which it's rampant, I think, they're taking that consideration. Like if we can get 500K, this thing's a home run. Because these young kids, man, they're savages. They're like, Jake has enough money. He doesn't care if we illegally download it, which it's an issue, man.
Do you think earlier when he fought, maybe after Askren, like earlier when he was like, when it first came out, do you think they would have done better, him and Nate?
No, because I think he had to prove himself. I think it would have done better before he fought Tommy Fury. If he came into this fight undefeated, that would have been the move. But, he took the gambling loss with Tommy Fury.
Who saw that coming too?
I know. But, Nate's doing his thing, still making money. Yeah, there's just no hype around this fight. Maybe it's because we're focused on UFC 291. I don't know.
I don't know. But so Nate was on your boy Bradley Martin's podcast. And then Bradley Martin, I guess he did this with Devin Haney too. He was like, do you think you could beat me in a street fight? He asked Nate the same question.
But he's been on Fight Command before, and he was like, man, I'd fuck Dylan Dennis up. I'm like, no, you wouldn't.
I know. He seems to think that he could beat these guys up in a street fight.
Yeah, I'm going to see Bradley. I'm going on his show later today, and I'll definitely address him. Like, I love you, man, but it's just not the way to go.
Yeah.
And because the thing about it, it's like ignorance is bliss. Like he's a big guy in the gym, so he's thinking that correlates to like fighting. Yeah. He's also, and I think he's saying in a street fight for all these. I don't think he's saying in a boxing
No, he
match.
said street fight, straight up.
So he's thinking like even if Nate got him in an armbar or something, he can pick him up and like slam him in the car like the Hulk or some shit like that, or just like Rampage jacks him down the cement. He doesn't realize how good these guys are. Like he hasn't grappled at a high level. It's just not, I don't know.
So Nate answered him, and he was like really cool about it too. He goes, yeah, dude, you'd be dead.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, now that we know fighting a lot more after watching all these damn MMA matches, we realize the difference between regular human beings
I don't think people do.
Really?
I don't think I'd say 98% of society doesn't.
You know what's true?
That's why online there's a lot of shit talk. That's why in person, you see like that one guy talk shit to Paul Felder. And he's like, I'm going to see you after. And Paul's like, well, I'm right here right now. What do you mean after? And the guy's like, It's like, but when it's something that's just all they specialize in, it's just so stupid. It's no different being like, I could make that same pass Patrick Mahomes made. It's like, no, that's all they do, dude. I can act just like Tom Cruise, man. That's easy. He just jumps out of the plane, and then he can't. It's literally all he does. It's just, it's just part of society. People are stupid.
It's just they don't have the experience. Just seeing Brian with Bradley Martyn grappling.
Yeah.
Brian, look at the difference in size. It's insane.
And he's 50-something.
Yeah.
And he still swept them.
Brian did do wrestling, and he freaking swept him good, dude.
But and I don't think people realize, like, even Dylan Dennis, like, brown belt world champion, he's a black belt now, like how fast he could get a hold of Bradley Martin's ankle and snap it. Bradley thinks he's gonna be able. He gets it and he's gonna be able to just pick him up. No. Like, it's all they do, dude. Yeah. Against other black belts at a high level. Like, your size means nothing.
I'm sure the strength means something, but not enough to.
It doesn't when it comes to that. Like those guys know how to use leverage and what the defense you're gonna do. They've seen a million times. There's also ways they can make it so you can't pick them up and slam them. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, there's a million ways, but they don't know this. I know. Like, no, he goes for my arm. I'll just pick him up. It's like, there's stuff they can do to make it so you can't pick him up. They can prevent you from picking him up. They can control your posture with their legs, dude. You don't even know what you're talking about. But that's what makes Bradley, successful, is that confidence in himself, because he used that in all aspects of business. He's just wrong in this one. Mm. Bradley's a good dude. He just doesn't know. I love Bradley. He just doesn't know.
All right. So this is pretty cool. Michael Venom Page was on Errol's show, and he said that he's now a free agent after being in Bellator for 10 years.
I know. He's been it just never came to fruition. I thought he was going to be the face of Bellator. They tried, and he always lost, like, that big fight, the Lima fight and stuff like that. So he lost right when he got to that cusp of it. I wonder if he's going to sign with Bellator. I feel like one championship would be a good fit for him. There's a lot of fun matchups for him there. He could do both kickboxing and MMA at one championship.
But he was at the show.
He was at the show, and they showed him, which is dope. Mm-hmm. There's some fun matchups for him, too. Wonder Boy.
Yeah, dude. So many matchups.
Piera, Wonder Boy. Some great matchups.
Yeah. But Wonder Boy is probably the best one.
I'm just curious what the UFC is going to throw his way as far as money-wise.
Oh, I thought you meant, like, they want to beat him right away because he was a
they want to beat him right away. They're going to throw him to the fucking wolves. That's what they do. But I'm just wondering, as far as compensation, how much do they think his value is right now? Shit, he's 21-2, dude.
Yeah.
He's a good fucking fighter.
Damn, you could read that?
Yeah, man.
Jeez. Alrighty. Darren Till posted some pictures. I don't know where this is because I tried to look at his Twitter and it's not there. But apparently he was posting pictures saying he's in the best shape of his life.
He's also on TRT.
I mean, that's what they're saying. But
no, he is. He admitted it. He left the UFC so he could get on stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's TRT, but he's on stuff that USADA would flag. That's why he technically retired. Just so he can get his leg right. It's not a bad idea at all.
I mean, since Conor did it, everyone should do that.
I agree. It's not that bad. He looks good. Yeah. Dude, I hope he comes back and does work. Darren Till was one of my favorites.
And you mentioned Dylan Dennis earlier, so I guess Till wants to. This is lame. It's not going to happen, but he wants to fight Dylan Dennis on the undercard of the Paul Diaz one.
Dylan Dennis ain't taking that fight.
He posted this.
Darren Till would fucking murder him.
Yeah.
In MMA, this would result in a quick one-sided fight for me. Well, I understand he wants a boxing contest, but Darren Till doesn't seem to understand that I would dominate him in any sport with ease. Remember, once a quitter, always one bitch. Why does he have that gun?
I don't know.
Dennis is hilarious. So is he saying he won't do it in a boxing contest?
I don't know.
That'd be a bad idea for Dylan. Yeah, I mean, Darren Till's a savage on the feet. Savage. And all he has to do is focus that, and you're fighting against a straight grappler. Like, it's a terrible idea for Dylan Dennis. The fight's not happening, but fun to talk about.
Mm-hmm. And finally, Conor's team on The Ultimate Fighter. It's not a sweep. One of his dudes won.
Yeah, I watched it.
And the punch was crazy, like this part.
This one.
Double fist.
Thor. Talking about that Thor hammer?
Yeah. But it's so funny, Conor's reaction.
Oh, he runs. He runs like my kids run when my wife yells at him. He runs around. I mean, to be fair, it's like, and that was their number one seed.
Oh, snap.
That kid that they beat. But to be fair to Conor, like, again, I don't know why the UFC, they don't think this stuff through. He wasn't set up for success on this Ultimate Fighter season. Like, this was made, I just don't think anybody looked into it, but this was not made for him to succeed. Veterans versus newcomers, yeah, it's not going to go your way at all. So he looks bad. If I was Conor, I'd be pissed, man.
But he did pick that, though, right?
I forget who picked. I forget how they did it. It's just a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, you said it, I remember
idea.
before it happened.
Since the jump, like, these poor kids are going to get their ass whipped. This is not how the show should go.
Almost a sweep.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I did that show. It's just, so you're going to have the veterans win, but they've already had their time in the UFC. And so if they're veterans, you're not going to build them up like a young prospect. So then you're going to toss them to the top 15 right away. They're going to get eaten alive. Like, no stars coming out of this show. I hate to be shitty about it.
Yeah. This also is a little bit of, I don't know if this is controversial. So Mark Goddard, I think this is LFA.
I think Mark's the best ref we have.
Okay. So, this is Cage Warriors. So he said the guy was hidden behind the head, and I'll just play this clip for you.
Yeah, it's right behind the head there.
It's hard for me to tell, but.
From the back. You got to at least hit the ear.
And he went off on him.
Let me see.
Stay there. Stay there. Who are you talking to? I'm looking right at it. Twice. I don't need to watch the replay, Will. Blatant to the back of his head. Chris, come in. Stay away from the corner. Stay away from your corner.
Is Mark Goddard a dad? Because there's some daddy vibes. That's the way I talk to my kids at the park. You just got to be on it, man.
I'm looking at it live, Will. Minimum twice. Minimum twice. Straight to the illegal area. You can't do that, buddy. Not even close, Will.
And I mean, look.
The Will guy's like, no, I was like here. He's like, dude, you're off. I think the best ref doing it right now is Mark Goddard.
By the way, the kid that did the Will, he did end up winning anyways.
That's good for him.
Yeah. Also, back to tough. What do you think of Paddy Pimblett?
Terrible idea. For him to fight
Ilia Topuria?
Topuria? No. It's fun to call out Topuria, but he's not even the top 50. Paddy's not even the top 15. Like his fame is higher than his ranking. Mm-hmm. So in the UFC would never do this. New with Topuria. Topuria's like, what? No, I want to fight for the title. Like, my next fight's for the title, not a guy who's not ranked in the top 15. I don't give a fuck how famous he is. And for the Ultimate Fighter, no, absolutely not.
Alrighty.
And then he's making fun of Josh Emmett. But I could finish Josh Emmett in my sleep. Yeah, I love Paddy. Yes, I love Paddy and his confidence, and he has star quality written all over him. He just hasn't done the work in the octagon yet. He will, and I think he'll get there and be a top 10 guy. He's not there close now. Like, the Gordon fight, he probably didn't win that fight, man. And then you're making fun of Josh Emmett. Eesh, dude. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do it, but keep doing your thing, Paddy.
This I thought was pretty interesting. Someone did the stats here about the similarities between Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje.
Yep, both are 34. Both are former lightweight interim champs. Both lost to the same guy via sub. Both have 13 letters in their name. Both fought for the UFC belt twice. Both beat Michael Chandler. Both won their previous fights. Both of their name rhyme.
Dustin.
Don't do the last name there. You're going to struggle. Both are exciting to watch. That one's stupid.
I know.
Both sweat. Both are white males. Both went 6-2 after fighting each other with 4 finishes, 2 decisions. Yeah, a lot of similarities.
Some people can actually just dig up all this stuff, which is crazy.
It's called research, dog.
I know, but that's a lot. Some random research.
She's like, that's crazy. I get on the computer and search and shit and look at stuff, man.
That's lame. Let's go here. Because the only reason I bring this up because you watched that show Euphoria.
I watched the first season, dude.
Do you know this kid?
No.
Okay, this guy named
But let me see what he looks
Javon
like.
Walton?
Is he from season 1? Oh,
guy?
yeah. He was the little baby kid.
So Jake signed him for his MVP promotions to box.
Doesn't he actually box? Isn't he actually a decent boxer?
Yeah, so his amateur career, he has like, what does it say, 80
He's
bouts?
17. Damn, 80 bouts, multiple junior amateur tournament victories, five-time Georgia State championship. Damn.
I looked at the box rec though, and I just saw this.
Okay, well, that's not
0-3.
good.
Maybe that's his
Maybe that's
pro.
somebody else.
Maybe it's someone else too, yeah.
I don't know.
But
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, he was a little baby drug dealer. Him and his brother were drug dealers on that show. I didn't watch the second season. It got too dark. Made me depressed.
I don't like watching stuff with kids.
Well, oh, you mean like teenagers?
Yeah. It just feels weird.
The teenagers?
Have you seen that movie Kids?
No.
Way back in the day? That was awkward too, man. Yeah.
Depends
Anyway,
when you watched it.
that's when I realized I don't like watching. Yeah.
Oh, I
this is
saw
funny.
this. Yeah, dude. Sean Strickland needs to grow his hair out. He was a fucking dime, dude. He looks like the guy from Beauty and the Beast. The
Yeah, he
prince.
looks like a prince. He
Yeah.
looks like his everything. Facial
Dude,
structure, hair.
He's a model.
But there you go.
Yeah, he looked fucking beautiful. I'm with that guy.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, he was a damn good looking dude, man. I had no idea.
Neither did I. Shaved his head.
Well,
That's all we
winning
got.
fights, though. That's all that matters. Mm-hmm. Is that it, Chin?
That's it.
All right, kids. I have Luke Thomas breaking down UFC 291 on Thursday for you guys, and Errol Spence and Crawford as well, bringing one of the best in the biz to talk to you guys about it. So that will be fun. Saturday, we have a Cowboys Fight Companion with a very special lineup. I can't wait. It's UFC 291 going down this Saturday. We are live. Cowboys Fight Companion, 7 p.m. Pacific on Thick Boy YouTube. Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Jan, Alex Pereira, Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green, Chiesa, Kevin Holland, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Michael Pereira, Derek Lewis in one freaking round at altitude. Marcos de Lima. It's a fun fucking card, man. All right. And again, you got Crawford and Spence fighting as well. So we got a fun weekend coming up, kids. If you see me around town, say what's up. Friday, I have one show at the one show at the Ice House, Schaub and Friends. We got Jay Moore, Trey Stewart, Will Burkhart, Skylar Stone. We got a bunch of people on the show. So it's Schaub and Friends, one show only, 8 p.m. That thing will sell out. Get your tickets right now if you're listening to this. Pasadena Ice House, July 28th. That's this Friday, Schaub and Friends, one show. Then Phoenix, 2 shows, August 11th. That's a Friday only because I have to be at fights on Saturday. So August 11th, Stand Up Live, one of my favorite spots, Phoenix, Arizona. You can catch me at JT Wings when I'm not on stage. It's my favorite wings in the country. JT Wings, shout out to them. It's right outside Phoenix. I think it's called Paradise or some shit like that. Either way, Phoenix is August 11th, one show only. I'm sorry, 1 day, 2 shows, August 11th at Stand Up Live in the hot-ass Phoenix, Arizona area. Then Omaha, Nebraska just got announced. That's one night only as well. Omaha, Nebraska, August 16th. Kansas City, Missouri, we'll be trying your barbecue there, August 17th. And then Ohio, end of August, August 30th, one night only at Liberty Township, Ohio. Columbus, Ohio, August 31st. Then I'm in Spokane, Washington, September 21st to the 23rd. Bunch more dates coming up. All right, guys. Been chilling this summer for a reason, but starting in August, your boy's back on the road. All right, guys. Love you. Stay safe. Enjoy the fights. See you around.